Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I'm very excited because this is the first of hopefully 12 reading vlogs for my Read Like My BookTube Friends project. If you missed the video where I talk about this project, I will link it down below. But basically this year, each month, I'm going to choose one of my BookTube friends by spinning a wheel and read a couple books like that friend, like the way that they read. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Some of the people I picked read similarly to me and some don't. But my goal is to try to find books off of my actual shelves that would fit that person's reading taste. So for January, I picked Chloe from her channel, Always Booked. I love Chloe. She reads a lot of thrillers, a lot of romance, a lot of women's fiction. We do have quite a bit of overlap. She hasn't yet posted her favorites of the year because I think with a lot of these friends, well, for some of them, I already know books on my shelves that match their tastes to a T. For others, I'll watch their favorite books from 2022 or maybe previous years, or I will just contact them and we'll chat. And that's exactly what Chloe and I did. So we had a couple chats back and forth, talking through some of our options, some of the books that she loved this year since she hasn't done her video yet. And I also went onto her Goodreads and did that thing where you can compare books. So I could see books that are on my shelves to be read that she has read and rated pretty highly. And we came up with 3 books. So I'm going to tell you what those books are right now. So first off, Chloe loves Diane Chamberlain. And this one is one that is on my shelves as well, obviously, The Courage Tree. The thing is, both Chloe and I love Diane Chamberlain's more recent stuff. And both of us haven't had great luck with some of the older stuff. I told her the titles of the Diane Chamberlain on my shelves that I haven't yet read. And she said she rated this one pretty highly, but it has been a few years. So we'll see about this one. It'll be an interesting read, but I enjoy Diane Chamberlain as well. And I feel like that is a perfect fit. Another author that both Chloe and I love, this was kind of easy when we come down to it because all 3 of these authors I really love as well. But Catherine Center is another women's fiction author that Chloe really likes and I have really enjoyed as well. So of the 2 or 3 unread Catherine Center books on my shelves, she chose this one for me that she really liked the best out of those choices. So Happiness for Beginners is the next choice for reading like Chloe. And the third one is a little bit different, a little more heavy hitting maybe than either of those 2. And it's Heather Gutenkopf and These Things Hidden is the one that Chloe read recently and really, really liked. I have read only one Heather Gutenkopf. I read Little Mercies and I did really like it. So I have 2 or 3 more of her books on my shelves as well. So I'm really pleased that this is the stack of books I'm going to be reading to read like Chloe. So the plan is each month I will have a specific reading vlog in which I read whatever books I have chosen for reading like that BookTube friend. Some months I may have more, some less, but I'm going to aim for 3 books for each person. And so this is the first installment for Chloe's vlog because I have already read These Things Hidden. I meant to kind of make clips along the way, but because I haven't even done the intro clip yet, I just wasn't ready to sit down and talk about this book, but I am now. So I did read These Things Hidden and I really, really loved this book. I listened to it on audio and I was captivated right from the very beginning. We follow a couple different people's perspective. Allison is one of the main perspectives, and right at the beginning, she is getting out of prison. She has spent 5 years in a prison for something that happened when she was a teenager. You don't really know what that is right at the beginning. And then we also meet her younger sister who always kind of lived in Allison's shadow. We also get the perspective of a bookstore owner. I believe her name was Claire, and a young woman who comes to shop at the bookstore all the time. So we're getting these 4 different women's perspectives throughout the story. All of these stories kind of revolve around this little boy named Joshua, who Claire and her husband adopted when he was a baby. And there are some secrets and surprises that came out along the way. It was really heavy hitting at times. I didn't cry at all, but it was intense. I was invested. I wanted to know what happened between Allison and her sister that caused a little bit of a rift between them. I was dying to know what Allison did that put her in jail for 5 years, and who was this shopper that we got her perspective and the things that were happening in her life, and just how it was all woven together, and kind of that the weave was getting tighter and tighter as you learn how these stories are connected. I thought it was beautifully written. It was brilliant, and I think I ended up giving it 5 stars. I might do half stars this year, and if I do, I'll give it 4.5 because I'm not sure it's going to stick with me. Yeah, let's just say that. I'm going with half stars this year, and I'll give this 4.5. I think I rounded it up to 5 on Goodreads already, but I really thought it was well written and suspenseful almost in a way, just in the way that I was eager to know what was going to happen next and how it was all connected. So yeah, I'm thrilled that I read this one. I did already get the audiobook for the Courage Tree, so this will be my next pick out of Chloe's books, but you'll have to wait to hear my thoughts on that one until I finish it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Hello. I am jumping back into the Courage Tree today. I started it a few days ago because I had about a half-hour drive, and so I figured that would be a good amount of time to get into a book, and I was really digging it. But then I was doing another buddy read on audio and two other buddy reads on audio, and I'm listening to this one as well. So I wanted to finish those up first before fully diving back into this one. So I finished one of them last night, and I got caught up in the other one where I need to be today. So now today, for the rest of the day, while I do sprints around my house of cleaning and getting stuff done, I am going to be listening to The Courage Tree. I'm really excited because the beginning definitely drew me in. It starts with kind of like a scene from the future, and then you go back and not back in time, but like it goes back a little bit to build up to that point. And in the story, the backstory, we meet this mom who's just let her 8-year-old or 9-year-old daughter go off on a brownie camping trip for the weekend. But the daughter has had a lot of health issues, and so nobody was thrilled that she let her go, that they decided to let her go. And then she's in the parking lot waiting for them to come back, and most of the crew comes back, but they let 2 of the girls ride with a young assistant, like a 25-year-old woman who helps out with this brownie troop. She just kind of volunteers her time, and they never come back. So far, it's been hours. Now the police are involved. The other parents of the other girl are there as well. What happened to this girl? So I'm definitely very interested, like, what on earth? Like, why didn't this girl come back? Is she okay? Is something going, like, is this a kidnapping story? Is this just an overprotective parent story? There's a logical explanation for why they're not back yet. I just don't know. So I'm definitely very invested. And I mean, Diane Chamberlain, I feel like, is such a good storyteller. This is not out of my wheelhouse. I don't think any of Chloe's books really would have been out of my wheelhouse. It's a good one to start with because I feel like we read pretty similar anyway. But it's fun to dive back into one of her older backlist, and I'm really excited to go see what happens. I won't let you know because that will be spoilery, but I'll let you know if I'm continuing to enjoy it when I get farther or when I'm finished. Stay tuned. Well, it's the end of the same day, Saturday, and I finished just now listening to The Courage Tree, and I loved it. I got a lot done today while listening because I basically listened all day long, and I rearranged furniture, I decluttered, I took out the trash. I got so much done, except for the dishes, which I need to go do now. But I really think Diane Chamberlain is just such a good storyteller. There were kind of 2 storylines in here, or 2 perspectives, and I didn't care for one of them quite as much as the other. But the story of Janine and her ex-husband trying to find out what happened to their daughter Sophie, why she didn't come back from the Girl Scout trip, and then learning kind of what happened and all of that. Plus there's a whole medical side of things because the daughter has this end stage renal failure, like kidney disease, and the mom had opted for this herbal trial situation, which seemed to be working really well, but everyone else in Janine's family, the mom's family, her parents, her ex-husband, like everybody else was so against it. So we had the family drama of Janine and her family and her ex-husband, and there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of drama. It was not a light, fluffy book. It was intense. It was surprising at times, which I always love because it's not exactly a mystery and I'm not looking for those surprises, but there was a few twists and turns in the plot that I was like, oh, look at that. And then of course the two storylines, or the two perspectives, come together towards the end. And I don't know, because I didn't like the one storyline all that much, or I just didn't care about it. It was very minor compared to Janine and Sophie and Joe, the ex-husband. Compared to their storyline, the other one was much more minor, and it just didn't seem to fit or mesh very well. But overall, it was a very captivating story. There were a couple fade to black bedroom scenes. Was getting ready to skip ahead, and then they would just go to the next morning. So didn't get too graphic in there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm giving it 4 stars. I love a good storyteller, that's for sure. So now I just have one more book of Chloe's choices to read, Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. So I'm really excited to read this one. I have not found it on audio, so I think I will read this one in print, and I'm totally fine with that. So that will be my third one, and I'm not going to read it tonight. I do have to go do a few other things, so I will let you know when I do what I think of it. All right. Well, today I meant to get on here and vlog the start of me reading my third Read Like Chloe book, Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. But I just started listening to it, and then I sat down to work on a puzzle. Guys, I nearly finished the puzzle today. I just sat all day today, worked on this puzzle, and read this whole book. And now it's done. It was a pretty easy read. I think the audiobook was maybe 8.5, 9 hours. It really wasn't that long. And I listened at 2.0 speed. So I didn't sit here for 8 hours, but I sat here for a long time. And I really enjoyed this book. I love Catherine Center. I was a little nervous because right at the beginning there was a scene where I thought it was going to go too far, and it didn't. But in this book, we follow Helen. She's 32, and 1 year ago she got divorced from her husband, and her life has kind of been on pause for a year. She has not been able to move on. She's not dated again. She has really been struggling. So she signs up for this extreme outdoor survival adventure for 3 weeks in Wyoming. And then she brings her rescue dog to her brother to take care of, and she runs into Jake, her brother's best friend, and learns that he is going on this same outdoor adventure as she is. It's like an extreme wilderness survival thing. Jake, she's always just thought of as her annoying little brother's best friend, never really paid attention to him. Meanwhile, Jake has been pining for her for 6 years since he met her. That's how long she was married. I think he met her at her wedding, whatever. But he kind of fell in love with her then and has just loved her ever since. They end up going on this, he convinces her she's driving out to Wyoming. Her grandma lives out that way, so she's gonna go see her grandma first. And it just is her kind of reclaiming her life, determining who she wants to be. And in the meantime, this age gap romance between her and her little brother's best friend, who has loved her forever, who is just a wonderful guy. I mean, it's not just all fluff. I liked the survival course. I liked the relationship that developed between these two people. They have kind of a moment. They have a kiss, and it's earth shattering. And I thought we were gonna get hot and heavy real quick, and that's not what happened. Thankfully, she backs off, he backs off. You know, there's other things going on for both of them, and you don't really know what that is until later on in the story. But I really enjoyed it. I really like Catherine Center. I would say this is probably not up there with some of her newer ones, but I did really enjoy it. And it just was a fun listen this afternoon. I think as far as the 3 Chloe books that I read, this is probably the lightest. It did deal with some heavier issues, but it was not super heavy. It was definitely more on the rom-com side of things. There were some scenes that were a little bit silly, and the people that ended up going on this adventure course were all in college. And so Helen is feeling very out of place, but does manage to step outside of her comfort zone and discover some qualities that she has that she didn't even know she had. And I just really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed it. So, but of the three, let me think, let me rank them. So the other two that I read were The Courage Tree by Diane Chamberlain and These Things Hidden by Heather Gutenkopf. And this was probably the heaviest and like the most intense. Oof, I don't know. This was pretty intense too, with the little girl who went missing. But I think in order of like my personal enjoyment, I think I did like These Things Hidden the best. I'll give this one the highest rating. And then probably Happiness for Beginners, and then The Courage Tree by Diane Chamberlain. But I really did enjoy all three of them. So I would say Reading Like Zoe was a huge success. I'm very excited to see who it is that I'm going to pick for February. And this is hopefully what I'm going to do. Just read 3 books off of my shelves that would be books that whoever I pick would read, and see if I like them. Obviously they're on my shelves, so I'm hopeful that I will. And I would say this was a huge hit this month. Reading these 3 was a win. So I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments about any of these books, about this project, about anything else. Sorry for how I'm looking today. I just got back from a workout at the library, so I'm a little rough around the edges tonight, but it is what it is. I wanted to get this wrapped up so that I can finish this vlog and get it up for you. Let's chat down in the comments below. I look forward to talking with you down there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited about this project, and I can't wait to film my February TBR so I can spin the wheel and see who I get to read like in the month of February. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in another video very soon. Bye.